I will speak about settlements and settlers in a novel. It's one of the first novels who speak about settlers. The author is Asaf Gavron, and the Hebrew title is Agiva, is this one. And you have the English translation Hilltop, the Italian translation is this one, is the Italian version. And it's a sort of saga about settlers. What I mean when I speak of settlers and settlements. Settlements were built in Israel starting from the war, the 7 Days War in '67. And these settlements were built on the base of ideology and nationalism. And this novel is particularly interesting because it doesn't speak about stereotypes of settlers, but of settlers who are really in flesh and blood. This novel has been written in 2013, and in order to write this novel, the author, Gavron, spent a few months in a settlement in the West Bank, not far from Jerusalem. And he spent a few months in order to understand who were the settlers, because settlers are well known as fanatics, as ultra-religious men and women. But he preferred to have a real experience with settlers. And in this novel, in fact, we find different kinds of settlers. We have the fanatics and the religious, but we have also seculars. We have also former members of kibbutz. We have a businessman, for instance, one that was one former kibbutz member that thinks to make a business with the Arabs, an Arab who live in a nearby village, in order to make organic olive oil to be sold in the shops, in a trendy shop in Tel Aviv. And we have also settlers who just are there because they like the landscape, they like the hilltops, the desert. So very different kinds of settlers. But Gavron is trying to draw a picture, a more complex picture of settlements. And one of the main points in this novel is a sort of comparison he is trying to do between the members of the kibbutz and the settlers. The kibbutz is a sort of collective village based on socialist ideology. The first kibbutz was built in 1909. And it's strange to think that we could make a comparison between a kibbutz that was based on secular ideology, and the settlement movements who are based more on religious ideology. But Gavron shows that something is similar. First of all, the will to fulfill Zionist aims, the idea to have self-sacrifice, a taste for adventure, and the idea to make sense of their of their lives. So, according to the ideology of the settlers, they think themselves as a sort of kibbutz members just 50 years late. And I would like to read just a small passage. We have this Gabi, one of the characters, say, we have a country which works well, and there is no longer any need to fulfill the Zionist dream. There is no need any longer to survive the Holocaust. So, why shouldn't we simply enjoy it, and that's it? Ronnie asks, but he can't be content with mere happiness. Okay, so they built a country and did great and historical things that we will never do. But that doesn't mean I cannot fulfill myself on a personal level and do something with my life. A second point is the way Gavron shows that there was a collusion of the society. There is a collusion of the society, Israeli society, of parties, of the army, of the soldiers, with the settlers. Because also in this case they had the order to evacuate the settlement because it's not according to the law. Is an outpost that is completely illegal. But this doesn't succeed, so the settlement is still there. And sure, Gavron shows also that the settlers are not very sensible to the rights of the Palestinians. They are chauvinists, they are nationalists. But they can have the same experience, and suddenly they can understand what the Palestinian rights could mean. When the security wall, the wall that has been built in Palestine, cutting one village from the other, and suddenly they see the Israeli soldiers who are building the security wall, so-called security wall, just cutting their own settlement. And in a very ironic scene, I will read it, they say, how is that possible? Asks Othniel indignantly. Since when have they been building the fence through Israeli settlements? Haven't they heard of democracy and human rights over there in Jerusalem? So when they share the same condition as the Palestinians, in the novel also it is shown that it's possible to share feelings and to think also about the rights of the Palestinians. So just to finish, in this novel we have the possibility to understand the complexity of settlements and to have a sort of more complex image of the reality.